Good morning. I want to begin with a confession that by the time I finished school, chose a degree, entered the working world, I thought I would somehow know who I was or who I would be. I was wrong. And it took me many years to realize that nothing was actually wrong. Recently, I watched a short video which stayed with me long after it ended. It showed people at the later part of their lives, intelligent, capable people who spend much of their lives searching for their identity, asking questions like, who am I really? What am I meant to become? Why did I end up here? And what struck me was not that the people were confused, is that they believed that confusion meant something was wrong with them. And what struck me even more is how early this confusion now begins for you. Many of you would probably be asking the same questions at 17, at 18, at 19 years of age. So let me tell you gently, in my view, confusion is not a flaw. When identity is a destination that you keep chasing for, it is not the way it should be. Because identity, in my opinion, is formed through living your life. When identity becomes a fixed destination, you will stop progressing. So when you are confused, to my mind, you are not lost, you are not falling behind, you are simply becoming. Let me take you back for a moment. When I was growing up in the 1980s and 1990s, life felt simpler. Not easier, but simpler. We have fewer choices, clearer paths, and fewer versions of success. We studied, we worked, we progressed, get a job, get married maybe, build a lovely family, and hopefully retire happily ever after. We didn't even have much time to ask ourselves who we were. We just simply became someone by doing, by committing, although it was done imperfectly. But you, however, are growing up in a world where there are unlimited choices, infinite options. You are living in a world that is very complex, and to my mind, sometimes a very wicked world, don't you think? You are pressured to know yourself even before you have truly lived your life. And you are probably being asked who you are very early in life. So, some of you may be quietly wondering, will I be choosing the wrong version of my life? So let me tell you that this is part of becoming. And confusion, again, is not something that you need to be worried about. I'm more concerned if you don't really care. But when you're confused, you are becoming. So let me take you further to a moment of my turning point. In high school, this is me. In high school, I chose my subjects carefully. I planned them meticulously, being a nerd I was. Because I wanted to study in a specific field that I deeply wanted. And I wanted to become someone who I imagined to be. Something unexpected happened. I received a scholarship to study overseas in a completely different field that I had never even considered. That was not the plan. If I'm totally honest with you, it almost felt sinful because it's like straying from a noble path. It didn't feel right inside me. But that was another reality then. With my parents' income level then, this opportunity to study in another country might never come again. So I took the risk. I went overseas at the age of 17, unsure, uncertain, uncomfortable, but I went with it anyway. Behind that smile, with a touch of makeover, was a lonely young boy who was still wondering what he was doing there. But he went with it anyway. So many of you are probably facing similar moments. You are not only comparing yourself to your classmates, you are pressured to compare yourself to the world, to these carefully curated lives on social media, to people you have never even met, to lives that look so complete. Even to the 19 and 20-year-old multimillionaires who seem to have figured it all out. It is tough. And it may bring you to a point where you think, my identity is something that I need to define now, early, clearly, correctly. So, are you facing an early crisis? During my time when I was growing up, we didn't have much time to ask ourselves who we were. That is why we face a midlife crisis. And many of my generation and generation before me face the same situation. But are you facing an early crisis? I hope by the end of my talk, you can see that you are actually not. Let me take you back to a moment where I was facing a very difficult time. This is a harder personal story. I stood up for something that, or was against something that I felt and I believe was not right. After a good career, I stepped down from my job. I went almost 2 years without employment. I felt that I almost or completely lost my identity. In fact, I was labeled as a troublemaker. People didn't look at my ability or competence anymore. They questioned my character. These were the moments when I genuinely wondered whether I have completely destroyed my own future or even the livelihoods of my loved ones. Here is what surprised me. Opportunity came knocking again. I stood up again, and I started all over again. It almost felt like a restart or a reboot of my life and me. And as time goes by, I realize that the very thing that caused me pain are the very reason that people trusted me more. My credibility became stronger, my reputation became clearer, not because I was loud, but because I was consistent. And as years go by, I realized that that was not the moment that I lost my identity. That was actually the moment when my identity started to form. As I mentioned earlier, I believe that identity is formed as you go through your life, as you live your life. And that brings me to another perspective. This is very profound. As we grow older, as you grow more mature, you will realize, I realize, that little of our life is actually fully under our control. There are many things that are not within our control. Yes, effort matters. Integrity matters. Courage matters. But so does timing. So does luck. So does fate. And we are here today not just because we work hard, but because there are many unrelated things in our lives started to align, which we did not plan for. And many little dots in our lives started to connect, which we did not even foresee. So as you go through the journey of becoming also requires you to sometimes accept and surrender. Surrender to the notion that luck plays a big role in our lives. Whether you call it faith in God or faith in a larger purpose or faith in something beyond yourself, the fact that when you do best and still can accept that there are things that are meant to unfold in their own time, that realization will make you humble. And when we stop to take full credit of our successes, for our successes, we start to take responsibility more seriously and we live our life more humbly. And this brings me to another point. It was mentioned by Tan Sri Wahid just now. Humility. Humility is increasingly important, but it is also increasingly difficult to do, especially as you begin to succeed. Humility is not about thinking less of yourself. Humility is about being willing to question yourself. You are an opinionated generation. Be hard on your own opinion, not just on others. Question your own assumptions. Sometimes review your own self-belief, even your sense of purpose. How do you do that? By listening, even when you think you are right. By paying attention and observing, even when the silence becomes very uncomfortable. And accepting feedback, even from those lower in ranks than you. Many lessons in life didn't come to me from just the normal circles that I interact with every day. Sometimes it came from people closest to me, people who love me enough to be brutally honest, people who love me. And sometimes it came from people outside my comfortable circle, people who could see what I could not, which I call blind spots. And this is important. And as you be more humble, you start to see things that will surprise you about yourselves. and you will grow and you will learn and you become better every day. Talking about faith, talking about humility, there is also another thing that I would like to share with you. We are often told to dream big, right? We must dream big. And that's not wrong. But sometimes we focus too far into the future. We forget to love the work right in front of us. We forget the responsibilities that are important to us and people around us. And sometimes we forget the loved ones who stand right beside us. A lot of the meaningful opportunities in my life didn't come from chasing a dream. They came from doing the small things, doing them seriously, doing them passionately, and doing them well. These are the short-term commitments, the relationships you build, the responsibilities, even small but important, and the daily efforts that you go through every day. As much as you want to dream, you must be passionate about your daily endeavors, your short-term commitments. Opportunities have a way of appearing or even presenting themselves to you when you are fully present where you are, not when your mind is constantly wishing to be somewhere else. So do your very best in whatever you do every day. Focus on your commitments. Yet, you can still keep your dream and purpose close to your heart. And this will keep you grounded while aiming for the stars. One other thought is about happiness. Many people, we have heard, spend their life trying to find happiness. But life will be full of joy and sadness. Life will be full of success and disappointment. Happiness, contentment is, however, a choice. It's a state of mind. However, if you still want to find happiness, one reliable way of finding it is to do good to others. Make others feel valued. Make others feel seen. Make others better. Make others feel that they belong. And when you do that, happiness will come to you quietly and surely as a side effect. Maybe unexpected reward. So this brings me to one key point of my talk. It dawned upon me in my midlife, after I have gone through ups and downs, that personal purpose, your personal purpose, for example, doing good to others, is more important and more powerful than a fixed identity. What do you do? What would you do with your degree? What would you do with your career? What would you do with the money that you are going to earn? And what would you do with the identity that you will form? Purpose is like a trunk of a tree. You know, purpose is very personal. It's very personal to you. But it is like a trunk of a tree where the branches will grow in many different directions. Flowers will bloom, leaves will fall, and flowers will bloom again, like these sakura trees, the pictures that I took in Japan in 2024. But the trunk of the tree, the purpose of you, your personal purpose, will remain as core. And when you have a purpose in life, despite the uncertainties, the complexity, the ups and downs, you will remain grounded, humble, and focused moving forward. Sometimes when you are in the position of trying to determine your identity and being worried about choosing the wrong version of yourself, you tend to wait, you may overthink, and you just sit and look for certainty before taking the first step. So I hope what I've shared with you will give you some strength and insights into taking the next step despite the uncertain world in front of you. In closing, remember I mentioned about the short video. That video reminded me again about something very profound. Many people spend much of their life searching for their identity, not because they failed to find it, but because they did not allow themselves to become. They did not allow their identity to form as they live their life. Life will be uncertain. Life does not reward waiting. Life does not reward hoping and searching. Life rewards doing. Life rewards engagement and action. So it will be messy. Your journey will be messy, I'm sure of that. Sometimes it will be slow, and sometimes it will surprise you, and sometimes it may just break you. But you will realize the important moments in your life are not when you reach destinations. The moments important to your life are when you are in a situation where you didn't know what to do, when you despair, but you kept going anyway. There is a Japanese art form called kintsugi. Have you heard? When a piece of pottery breaks, it is repaired with gold. The cracks are not hidden, they are highlighted. The object are not restored to what it was before. It became something new, often more valuable. After going through life, I realized that life works very much the same way. The journey that you take will break you, but it doesn't make you any less. As time goes by, you will realize the cracks in your life will turn out to be the most important part of who you are. So, continue to do good to others. Continue to learn from others, even if it is very uncomfortable. Stay humble. Be passionate of your endeavors. Do it well every day. Keep your personal purpose clear and close to your heart. And remember, our success, our achievement will never come from us alone. So with that, I would like to wish you success and not forgetting the best of luck. Thank you.